Do you struggle with intimacy in your marriage? Today, I'm going to share with you 3 things you can do right now to create more intimacy in your marriage. Listen, let's first start by talking about what do I mean by intimacy. I'm not talking about sex, like we all enjoy that. But what I'm talking about is that deep connection where you have a space where you're completely safe enough to feel heard, seen, and you feel like you can be yourself, that you can share the most vulnerable things that's happening in your life. The first thing you need to do to create that space is to get safe within yourself. Are there areas in your life that you are afraid to really look at, examine, or talk about? Because if you're struggling with those places inside where maybe something happened in your past, or maybe something has happened in the marriage and you feel like it's a hot button so you don't want to talk about it, if there are any of those areas that are being covered by shame, guilt, avoidance, it's going to create problems for intimacy. Again, intimacy is not just a sexual act. It is that true, deep connection that we all yearn for. I want you to know there are things you can do to bring that energy back to life in your marriage. So getting vulnerable is the first way to do that. Again, being willing to look at those scary places and having the courage to share with your partner those things. The second thing, learn to communicate more effectively. We hear it all the time, communicate, communicate, communicate. But it's not about talking. It's not about saying the same thing over and over again. It's about how you're saying it. It's about learning how to get clear within yourself, the deepest part of what it is you need from the communication. Here's what I mean by that. There are times when we literally communicate just to vent, just to express information and get it out. But then there are times that we are communicating because maybe there's something we need to have a better understanding of, or maybe we need to be understood. I recognize, believe, and know that once you learn to get clear about what it is you need from the communication, then you can connect better because there's an understanding. Here's what I mean. There are times when I say to my husband, I just need you to listen. And that's all I need. I do not need him to fix. I do not need an answer. I do not need a solution. I just need him to listen. Once he listens, I don't expect anything else. I don't expect him to go, baby, I heard you, because I didn't say I needed validation. I said, I just need you to listen. Then there are times when I do need validation or I do need an idea. But before I start the conversation, I take time to figure out, what is it I need in this moment? Do I need validation? Do I need security that this ideal I have, or this method that I'm struggling with, or this thing that's happening within our marriage, I need some clarity on it. And the only way I will get clarity is if I hear the support from my husband saying, yes, babe, I understand. Yes, I got it. Yes, you're doing that well. That's needing validation. Or maybe what you need is understanding. And what does understanding look like for you? Understanding for me is just the empathy. Wow, I hear what you're going through. I'm sorry that you're going through that. I'll be there for you. Can I just sit with you? It's just the empathy. But the clarity of knowing what it is that I am trying to get through the communication helps me to communicate more effectively. Because if I don't know what I want, then I'm going to talk and ramble, and I leave my husband at a space where he's trying to figure out what it is that she really wants. And then he may begin to give me a solution when what I want is just to be heard. He may begin to validate me when what I need is just a safe space where I can lay it all out on the table. And I believe the reason why we struggle with that in communication, we bump heads, is because oftentimes during the communication or prior to the communication, the person communicating is not even clear about what it is they want. Once you begin to get your clarity and you can communicate that effectively with your spouse, so you know what you're asking for, you know what it is that you need and desire in the midst, guess what that's going to do? That's going to create that intimacy that you really want, need, and desire. Then lastly, if you really want more intimacy in your relationship, and remember, the intimacy is creating that safe space where you can be vulnerable, the connection, the trust, the honesty. I need you to learn how to spend quality time together. Not time just sitting watching TV, which is good if that's something that you and your spouse enjoys, but that quality time where you're connecting. So Jay Shetty once shared that a great way for couples to connect is to do something new together. And the reason you want to do something new together that neither one of you have ever done is because it creates this level of curiosity and vulnerability that we typically don't usually share. Because think about it. If your spouse is a huge sports fan and you go with him to a game because you enjoy it, but maybe not as much as him, but to have that quality time, maybe there isn't this deep connection that you was hoping it would bring about. Or maybe if you're like me, you like the sightsee, the arts, and those kind of things. And my husband loves to go do those with me. I leave feeling full, excited, and happy, but he leaves feeling like, okay, I did something nice with my wife. But deep connection happens when we're both doing something new, where we have to learn, we have to be vulnerable, we have to ask questions, we have to get curious. And then together we learn something new and we see parts of each other that maybe we haven't seen before. That is how you begin to establish a deeper level of connection and vulnerability, which leads to that intimacy you really want. So listen, I hope that these 3 things will help you and your spouse truly build that level of intimacy that you really yearn for. And when you do that, you will see your marriage thrive in a way that you've never seen it before. So listen, if you need help with any of this, if you need help learning how to really communicate effectively, if you struggle with the vulnerability and being able to trust or have issues with being open and honest with your spouse, reach out to me at berrythoughtfullife.com. I would love to work with you to help you through those issues so that you and your spouse can build the loving connection you truly want.